Hi, Key Stage 3. Welcome back. I hope you've had a lovely half term. Today I'm going to talk to you about the next lesson. We're up to week 6 of isolating at home in lockdown, but obviously things are starting to lift a little bit now. So things have changed, but we're still working at home, so we still have another, hopefully quite exciting task for you to do this week. So, this week, what we want you to do is to produce a detailed pencil drawing of an interior space or a room in your home. So I could have done the room behind me. For example, any space in your home, could be a bathroom, could be a kitchen. It's entirely up to you. Now we said a pencil drawing. You do have a few options. I'll talk to you about that in a moment's time. But just to go through how this is going to work, you should begin with a really light sketch, like all drawings, from observation. And you should focus on those big shapes: the room, the walls, the ceiling, the floor, and the furniture. Those key kind of structural parts. Don't worry about the details at the start. For year 8 and 9, you'll know about this, but for year 7, maybe not. But if you do, you can look it up, or you might already know about it. But you should try and use 1 or 2 point perspective to describe the space. And that'll make it have a sense of depth. That'll show a realistic 3D space. Once you've done that, try and refine your sketch, improve the proportions. You'll see in my demo in a minute that I rub things out, I go back to them, I move lines, because if I'm not happy with them, I'm gonna fix it. We want you to do that as well. So refine your sketch, improve the proportions, define the shapes clearly, and then focus on the details. Now, to finish your drawing, you can either apply tone, range from dark to light, so it can be a pure pencil drawing. You might want to do it in pen, or you could add colour. You could use colour pencil, oil pastels, watercolours, paint. I don't mind, whatever you have. And actually it'd be really exciting to see all the different ideas you guys come up with. So there's a few artists we are going to look at now, and I'm going to talk to you about them briefly before kind of going through the task with you. But as always, for your homework, you need to submit it to your usual class teacher, on Show My Homework, and just a photograph of your drawing would be fantastic. An hour and a half for this task, so I'm going to show you what you can do with an hour and a half if you really put your mind to it. Make sure that it's a really good quality piece of work, please. I'm sure some of you are very excited to be back to basics and back to drawing again. Okay, so the first artist I want to show you is called Gosio Tomshuk. I just had a look online for different kind of styles of drawing. And actually one thing that I think is quite interesting about this artist is she's actually drawn office spaces, desk spaces, which now we're all working from home is maybe quite interesting. So that might be something you want to focus on as well. She's also, got a really beautiful style using pen, lots of cross hatching, fine line, a really kind of sketchy style, but she's still managed to create a sense of depth, use a range of tones from very dark to very light, and these are really dynamic sketches. So you could do something like this: sketch it out in pencil, work into it in pen. Now, this is a really beautiful, another artist I found online while I was doing some research for this project, is a beautiful kind of pencil charcoal drawing by an artist called Joanna Smilakowska. I think I've said that right, Smilakowska. Apologies to anybody if I am going so wrong with that one, but some really beautiful use of light and shade in this drawing, and some really great highlights around the top of the ceiling, the kind of faintness and the see-throughness of the curtain, the transparentness of the curtain, really beautiful. So you can do something really effective just in black and white if you choose to do that. That doesn't mean you do a quick pencil drawing and you forget about it. It means you work into it and you improve it. Choose your style. Okay, so this is an artist many of you are familiar with, and some of you might be really loving doing all your work digitally. Some of you might be so ready to move on from that, but those of you that are enjoying the digital drawing tasks, this is probably a painting by Jonas Wood, but you could definitely take his style and do something with a digital drawing app. and create a kind of similar effect. This is right up my street, lots of greens, pinks, yellows. It's almost like a jungle, a houseplant jungle, houseplant kitchen. I'd quite like that in my house, but you'll see my kitchen in a moment. Other end of the spectrum, quite somber paintings by Wilhelm Hammershøi. And these are quite muted tones, looking out windows, quite faded, pared back colours. These are oil paintings, but they're quite minimal in terms of the interior space as well. So that could be something you want to focus on. You could kind of clear it out or just focus on a kind of cleaner space in your home. You're going to see mine in a moment. I went for the other end of the spectrum. So this is an artist called John Bratby. He is famous for a movement in Britain called kitchen sink realism. You see where we're going with this. So you can see the kitchen table in the image on the left, covered with clutter, like everyday life, just like what your house looks like when you're kind of getting ready for breakfast, bringing the shopping in, maybe you haven't cleaned up for a few hours. It's what my house gets like quite quickly. You know, so it's every day. It's not kind of trying to make something refined or kind of clean or special. It's just what it is. And on the image on the right, you've got kind of bathroom, which I also think is a really cool idea and an interesting thing to draw. And you've got that view through the door, through the window outside as well, which is really exciting and kind of links to what we were doing when we looked at our drawing through our window. So I kind of thought I'm going to go with the John Bratby kind of style, but maybe mix in some colour, Jonas Wood, Miss Stewart style. So you're going to have a look at mine in a moment. But here's my kitchen, or part of my kitchen. Not the tidiest. Left my pantry door open, kind of things all over the sideboard, but I thought that would make a really interesting composition. And the other thing I really liked were those kind of contrasting colours, that green and pink, which is a tint of red, they're almost complementary. And so I really like the colours here. I love that view out my back window, and I thought this would give me something interesting to draw, lots of different angles. So this is the view I chose. I actually did work from a photograph. Now it's entirely up to you. I quite like working from a photograph, and if you can go away, come back to it. It also meant that I could make a film of it, which you're about to see. But it's entirely up to you how you approach it. If you want to do it from life, that would be awesome. And let us know which you decide to do. So this is my kitchen. This is what I went for, and I'm going to just click here. I'm about to show you a very sped up video of the first step. And I spent, and you're about to see, I spent about 30 minutes on this, just kind of sketching it out. So I'm going to play it. It's very quick. So I'm going to play it, and I might play it a couple of times and just talk to you about what I have done. So you can see me sketching out the kind of big shapes, the sideboard. I actually started with the walls, and then I was like, that hasn't made any sense. So I kind of moved just to one side. Unfortunately, my time lapse didn't work brilliantly, and I'd moved my picture, but you can see I'm then putting in the images on the right, the chair at the foreground, filling in the details towards the end, and then putting in that floor. And you can see I've run up 30 minutes. That's all it took. Nice view of my socks there. So I'm just going to go back to the beginning and play that again for you. You'll notice I start on the right and then I rub it out. So if I just pause, you see I started off on the right hand side drawing the walls and the main structure, but I got a bit confused with that, and everything was in the wrong place. So I actually rubbed it out. You'll see this now. I just go back to the beginning. Sorry about that, guys. There you go, rubbed out. I then started with the sideboard because it made a bit more sense. It kind of went into the middle of the space, worked around the sideboard, repositioned things on the sideboard. And then I moved to the right-hand side. Maybe it's the left. I think it's the left. The left-hand side, and drew in the pantry, drew in the chair, and started putting those details in after I got the structure correct. And the detail on the floor, the lines of the floorboards. I'll just go through that one more time, and I'm really sorry you can't see the whole thing. Annoyingly, I think I moved my screen, or my camera got slightly nudged. And I'm sorry also seeing this upside down. You can see me building up and adding in those details at the end. So I spent about half an hour on that bit, and all the time I'm going back to my drawing, refining it, rubbing bits out, trying to get the sense of depth and the illustration correct. So those are a few details. Now, I wanted to show you these bits just because actually I haven't actually at this point put much detail in, and in the grand scheme of my picture, that spice rack is really small, you'll see in the next picture. So trying to draw each kind of spice jar individually and all the detail in the cupboard, that would have taken me quite a long time, and I just want to get the outlines at this stage. Again, you see the details in the plant, quite quick, sketchy marks, just laying everything out. And that was literally 30 minutes work. Took a while, but you've got an hour and a half. Still got an hour to go. So you can see, as I showed you, the spice rack, it's actually a really tiny part of the image. Just quickly sketch it in. Make sure you can see all the different kind of lines suggesting depth and perspective, all the different angles. Keep a really close eye on that. And look at things in relation to each other and objects in relation to each other. Where the fruit bowl is in the middle, you can actually see where I've rubbed out where it was and kind of moved it over to the left a little bit. I've definitely been getting my left and right muddled up during this tutorial, but moved it over to the left a little bit to kind of make sure that I get the space correct. Okay, so I decided that I was going to add colour. This is one of my paintings before I started teaching. I was an artist, I had a studio and I used to make really massive, quite colourful landscape paintings. So obviously I decided I wanted to use colour. That's my thing. I really like, artists like Jonas Wood, and so I've gone for this busy, detailed scene, but at the same time wanted to give it a pop of colour. And also you saw my kitchen, it's pink. I wanted to show those kind of bold colours that I talked about earlier. So here, this one is a better video as well. I don't even think it cuts off in the middle. So I'm going to quickly show you. I spent another 30 minutes kind of laying out the basic kind of colour. And what I actually use is I use a mixture of colour pencil and water-soluble pencils. Now, if you have those, great. If you don't, you don't have to. You could just use watercolour, you could just use colour pencil, you could just use a pencil or a pen, up to you. As long as you're spending an hour and a half on it and you're putting that detail in, amazing. Remember, it's your homework and your classwork. And I'm not just colouring it in, all one colour, I'm blending the colours together. Hopefully you can see me do that. So on the brown, I'm using a dark brown and light brown on the cabinet. I'm using a bit of orange, a bit of yellow and a bit of black. I'm going to go back to the beginning and talk to you a little bit more about blending. As we get up to it, got a kind of black object on the right, a soda stream. I've mixed in a bit of blue there. So I'm not just relying on one colour. This is something we talk about a lot in school. When you're colouring in, try and get sharp outlines and then fade it in and blend it in. Add another colour. So you can see that I've started to do that. I haven't actually worked on the pantry area yet, but I've got the colour in through the window, the contrast between the white. I've laid down a big wash of pink. I didn't want to colour it all in, so I used a water-soluble brush and kind of filled it in quite quickly. And blending and using a range of marks to create depth and blending colours together to show the effect of the wood or the kind of shadow, whatever's going on. So that was another 30 minutes. So I've spent 60 minutes on this task so far. So that's the equivalent of one of your lessons. Now, you've got your lesson now that you're having with Miss Stewart or whoever, Mr. Critchley or Miss Barrett, and that's about an hour. And then you have an hour of your second lesson of art and half an hour for homework. That's how I've worked this out. So 60 minutes, that's the kind of position, that's the kind of place I have got up to. Still quite a way to go, but I think I've got most of the kind of structure in there, most of the colours in there, and I'm going to work on the details next. Okay, so there you go, you can see it, finished, 60-minute drawing, but there's still a few empty white spaces. So we're going to finish it off. Okay, final video. I wish the first video was the right way around as well. Okay, so here we go. Sketching, refining, outlining, adding those details like the plants. You all know I love a house plant. Getting clean outlines, trying to show the difference between the walls. Part of my wall where it's closest to the window, the light is shining on it, I want to make it lighter, and I want to make it darker in places where there's shadow. I then start to fill in the pantry. Now, there's a lot of food in my pantry. I didn't want to draw it all individually. I wanted to kind of suggest kind of colour and shapes, but I wasn't going to worry too much about picking out all those details. It would just take a long time. And also that's not my style of working. You do it in your style. I'm obviously doing this drawing in my own style. So I'm going to play it again. So just refining the outlines makes a massive difference, and it's something we talk about a lot in school, but going around with a coloured pencil in a similar colour or a slightly different colour, just to get those edges, so important. You might not think that I've made a massive amount of progress in this kind of half-hour stint, but actually I've finished off the pantry, I've refined those outlines, I've got quite a lot done quite quickly to really polish off the drawing. You see me working. I wish I actually worked that quickly, but it did in fact take a whole 90 minutes. So after 90 minutes, you should end up with your finished drawing ready to send. Yours might be, as I said, it might be a coloured pencil drawing. It might be a watercolour. If you want to do a painting, you can. If you want to do it digitally, if that's the kind of thing you're enjoying, fine. Not a photograph. You can take a photograph to base it on, but it does need to be a drawing, a hat that you do with your hand. And however you want to do it, a fine liner drawing, absolutely fine. We really love seeing all the variety of your responses, so that's what we are after. And it doesn't have to be exactly like a photograph. It can be a little bit, use your artistic license as well. It can be a little bit more personal and expressive. Okay, so just going back as a reminder, this week what we want you to do is produce a detailed drawing, can be in pencil, can add colour, of an interior space. You should obviously always start your drawing in pencil. Then what you do with it, whether you add pen, colour pencil, whatever, that's up to you. But a detailed drawing of an interior space, and there are loads of artists that you can reference if you're not sure where to start, as I did. Hope that's been helpful, and you can watch this video again, but it's showing you the different stages. Hope I've not confused you too much. Confused myself. I'm not sure which is left and right and up and down, but hopefully that video helped out. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do. And let's have a good response and a good submission rate this week. Some of you have been doing fantastic work, and it does really makes it worthwhile. Okay, good luck. Take care.